to dispose of such government and establish new leaders, guardians for their future security. This very misery is what these states have been patiently tolerating, and for those reasons they are now compelled to face the need to change their former system of government. So that's what gives us the authority and the capacity. That document has never been negated. It is the foundation upon which this country has been built. So the Republic has been established by lawful process, as has been stated before and is stated over and over again. Very briefly, how did that process take place? All 50 of the states existing in this union established a jural body. Jural comes from the word jur, juris. It means law. A lawful body was established as a de jure grand jury in each of the 50 states. It doesn't matter the size, it matters of the holding and the grounding in law. You can read through all documents, foundational structures of law in this country, and you will come to understand that when something is brought together properly and lawfully, it rises above any of the things that you think could negate or prevent it from taking place. Remember, I said that one person in Republic is more capable in law than 300 million in a democracy. So all 50 states formed a jural body with capacity in law as a de jure grand jury. In American jurisprudence, there's a set of documents, set of volumes called Corpus Juris Secundum. Corpus Juris means the body of law. Secundum is the second or the second edition. In volume 38, section A, there's a line or a clause that states that when a de jure grand jury is formed, a de facto grand jury cannot coexist with it. So the de jure grand juries that were established in February and March of last year established the reinstituting of the law form for the people and by the people. That took place in February and March, and in late March, unanimously, that body, the 50 grand juries, made presentments to the de facto governors of each of the states. And it was basically not a demand for them to step down, but was a demand that they take an oath in law to the people. Because, as you will come to understand, the governing system that is in place that we've grown used to is not a pledge of oath to the people and the original structure this country was founded on. So this was a presentment in law, and according to every level of rule and requirement in our system, in 3 days, if they did not respond and they did not comply, they basically defaulted on that demand. When they defaulted, that was in effect an abandonment of their status that had been previously accepted and allowed by the people. Upon that abandonment, the people, the de jure grand juries of the 50 states, then had the empowerment and the capacity and the full right in law to institute a new form of self-governance and self-determination. That took place over the next few months, leading to the point, as C.W. explained earlier, when we again, as 50 sovereign bodies with jural lawful capacity, came together and established the first step in reinstituting the Republic for the United States of America. That step was to establish the provisional executive branch and to elect President Turner into that position. And then CW became the vice president. And progressively from that time, in July through August, September, October, various steps were taken. Each state elected a governor, as you know. We elected members of Congress and the Senate. We convened properly the Congress. And then we led up to that event in November in Utah, where we established by declaration of sovereign intent who and what we are. And that has gone out to the world. And as CW explained, the world is paying attention, because that rogue state known as the United States has been on a rampage for decades and even centuries. And the world has had enough. You can see it on the news. Egypt is exploding because they've had enough. Many nation states, they've all had enough, because they all recognize that we've been bamboozled, that there is enough wealth on this planet that nobody needs to go hungry. Nobody needs to live in the kind of abject poverty that we see every day on our televisions. What I've learned in looking at the encoded, multi-layered system of control on this planet is that a big lie has been presented that the people have bought and continued to reaffirm. That lie is one that uses several principles to define our reality. Those principles are called lack and limitation, and it's based on fear and survival. And if we buy into that, the world that we see today will continue the way it is, and we are on a path to self-destruction. But the Republic has committed itself to a new set of principles. Remember, I read in there, principles and policies upon which we reform a new form of governance. For me, those principles are unity, abundance, and prosperity, because there is enough wealth in this world. There's enough energy, there's enough water, there's enough food, that everybody can have a proper level of nourishment, housing, everything that we take for granted, that we cherish for ourselves, for our children, our families, and our communities. So as I said, I set out to make the world my home, and I encourage you all to think in the same way. Earlier this year, in our General Assembly in California, I presented a document that I had written 10 years ago. It was called a Declaration of Intention. It was very simple, and it will be on the website for the California Republic soon. And it was based on two basic principles: service and stewardship. Because the difference between stewardship and what we see running rampant in the world today is that the resources and the wealth of the world, and I'm not talking about communism or statism or socialism, but I'm talking about a proper balance and stewardship of the wealth and the resources that can be used for everybody. And we did unanimously accept and pass that Declaration of Intention, which was simply that as we build and grow this republic, the wealth that we accrue and build is going to grow and overflow and is going to spread across this nation and revitalize it and heal it and bring people to work and give them what they need to have abundant lives and lives that have meaning and purpose and intent. And then America can return to the greatness that we once had and the respect that this world had. So if those principles mean something to you, please come into the Republic. We've got what we need here today for everybody to do that. Okay, we have stations for Northern, Central, and Southern California. You need to first enter the Republic by one simple act. That act is your individual declaration of sovereign rights, held by indigenous powers. What does that mean? It means that the people of America have always been the sovereigns. There is no one above the sovereign other than the Creator. There is no one who tells you what to do. That doesn't look like that's the kind of system we have today, is it? Okay. So, our sovereign rights never went away. They can't go away. If you understand law and history the way I've studied it, you'll understand that the system we're talking about has only been an overlay that was laid over like a blanket the original structure. That original structure has never gone away. All we needed to do is re-inhabit it. So the first step is the individual, because the building block of a republic is the individual. I declare my sovereign rights held by indigenous power. What is indigenous power? Indigenous means native, native to the land. This doesn't mean that the Native Americans, the original First Nations, are separate from what we're doing. History has brought us to where we are today. We are co-equal with them. We are all holding indigenous power. Okay, I honor and respect the Native Americans as I honor and respect all nations, all races. But we're co-equal as we hold our individual sovereign rights in indigenous power. So some very educated individuals in law have come together in the national and at the state levels to bring a very simple mechanism by which we all can come into the republic. And that is defined in two very simple documents. Your Declaration of Sovereign Rights, held on the land in indigenous power, and a jural covenant, which is that I become the law and I create and establish my covenant with all of you as we hold the law together. So as we hold the law together and we're grounded in the law, then we have to create forms in which we establish our models of self-governance. And that's what we're in the process of doing. It's a long, hard process. And we need everyone who has any sense of, one, what's going on over there on the other side of things, and what we have, the inherent capacity and the potentiality to create here in the Republic, to come on board, because it's time. And that's what this Jamboree is all about. We're here to bring people in and establish an understanding of what the solutions are, which I'm going to get to in a minute. Where is the remedy? How do we fix the problem? So the first step is we come in individually, and we come into the law, and we hold our capacity in law, the jural covenant. Then we come together as a free state. California is already established as a free state. That was done by the de jure grand juries, as I said, and then the process that has taken place in the last 10 months. There is absolutely nothing that can negate that or stop that or make it not a fact. So now in California, what we're doing is we're convening our counties. The counties are the building blocks of our republic, our state republic. As Pastor Rob said, we did hold an historic event in early November in his little church in Beaumont. That was the convening of the Jural Assembly of Riverside County, the de jure lawful county, and we ratified the Constitution for that county. It's called a County Settlement Constitution. It's a very simple document, and if you look on the Republic website, you will find it and you can read it. It's being revised right now, refined and fine-tuned, but it's satisfactory as it has been accepted by numerous counties in California and throughout the Republic, the nation. So the county becomes the form of local governance. And the Constitution that forms and establishes the county settlement establishes county offices. And we elect our county offices. Why is that